Moi!
Moi!
It's Finland Friday again, and today I have a special video, and I have wanted to do this video long time, and finally I have a suitable victim. So he is Josh, and he is from America. Woo! Woo! Yeah, hey, can you tell why do we meet today here?
Okay, yeah, so I make TikToks in Finland about being an American living in Finland. And I had been a fan of the Hydraulic Press channel for a while. And I did not know that they were in Finland. And when I found out that they were in Finland, I decided that I was going to recruit my followers to annoy you and comment on my video. So I made a video asking my followers to get your attention on me so I could come and meet you guys. I didn't know that I could have just sent an email.
That would be easier.
I decided to go the route of harassing you online.
Yeah. One day I was really confused because all people are tagging me on TikTok, like HPC official, HPC official, HPC official, and then I went to see the video and Josh was there, and then I immediately answered that yes, we can meet when the virus time is over, and now we meet. And then I also wanted to do this video because I know some Americans who live in Finland, but I know because you do TikTok videos,
yeah.
So you can be in front of the camera. So
I'm not afraid of this.
Yeah. So this is interesting because I have many American viewers, and you are American, and I'm Finnish, and now you live here. So this is interesting all for Americans and also for Finnish people. So I have questions to you here, and your basic information. How old are you? Where are you from?
Okay. My name is Josh. I'm 27 years old. I'm from Philadelphia. Well, yeah, most recently Philadelphia. My father was in the military, so I moved around a lot. But I moved to Finland 2 years ago. That's it, I guess.
Yeah. And the next question is, why did you move to Finland?
Yeah, so I had some friends who were au pairs, which is basically, if you don't know, just a nanny for a family.
Yeah.
And I had never really thought about doing that, but I knew that I wanted to live abroad and I wanted to move to Europe for a while. And a couple of my friends had suggested that I try doing that because it's much cheaper. You don't really have to pay for housing or anything. All that's provided for you. And so I thought, maybe we'll see. So I made a profile on an agency website and had a bunch of offers and conversations with some families, but ended up liking the family in Finland best. And 3 months later, I had sold everything I owned and moved to Finland.
So I would say Finland was like accident.
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't really have any country in mind. I didn't have anywhere that I specifically wanted to live.
Yeah.
I knew that I didn't want to live somewhere where English was the main language because I felt that would be too similar to what I already knew back home.
Yeah, easy.
I didn't really want to go to Australia or UK or Ireland or anything like that. I wanted to do something where I was going to experience a completely new culture, not something that's just kind of a different version of the one that I already have. So it was a bit of an accident.
Yeah. So your choice was Finland. So difficult step was bit bad, I would say, because for example, Swedish language, it's much closer to English than Finnish.
Yeah, I had, before I came here, I had done this little study about how difficult Finnish was, and I found this study. I forget who conducted it, but it was talking about how if you're an English speaker, how many weeks it would take you to become fluent in a language. And if you're practicing every day. And Swedish was like 28 weeks or something, half a year, and Finnish was 90 weeks, which was like the only other language that was 90 weeks was Mandarin Chinese. And so it was like, okay,
Let's go. Let's go. So, what do you think? How long you have been here now?
2 years.
2 years.
2 years, yeah.
So your au pair season is already over.
Yes, that was 1 year, and that ended a year ago.
Okay.
And since then, I've stayed in Finland.
Okay. Good. Good. Is it much paperwork to move to Finland or live here?
Not as bad as you would think, as long as you have a reason to be here. So, or you can take care of yourself, essentially. Yeah. The initial getting here was relatively easy. I actually had my residency permit approved in 2 weeks.
Okay.
Coming here the first time, because I had a job offer from a family who was, willing to take me in and sponsor me, basically. Yeah. The second residency permit takes a whole lot longer and can take, up to a year, 2 years for them to approve it. Yeah. Luckily, I work for myself, so while that's processing. Yeah. But yeah, so the process it's just sort of a long process. It's not really a difficult one.
Okay.
The Finnish government makes it very easy steps and makes it very easy to understand what they want from you.
Why did you decide to stay? Did you love Finland so much, or what was your main reason?
Multiple reasons. I love Finnish people. I love the culture. I kind of, I fell in love with Finland and was thinking about doing it, but also, the old joke of a woman.
Yeah.
Finnish girl.
Finnish girls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, they make the joke that you come here for metal music or for love. And so
Yeah.
I didn't come here for either, but I did stay longer for one of them. So.
Hey, how about the metal music? Do you like?
I'm very uneducated in metal music. I don't know really what I'm listening to. Not that I don't like it, I just don't always listen to it, I guess. So,
Okay.
I don't hate it, I don't love it.
Okay.
I need to listen to more of it.
If you think the first weeks in Finland, what were the worst culture shocks?
The worst, I think, was small talk. That was a really tough one because, for example, when I would go shopping and I would try to have a conversation with the cashier, they would look at me with this just terrified look of, why are you talking to me about this? In USA, we don't like awkward situations, so we try to cover over the awkwardness by talking. And so if you're checking out groceries, I might say, hey, how's your day going? Has it been a long day at work? When are you off? All this stuff. And if you ask, a Finnish cashier that, they might think that you're flirting with them. Or
Or because we don't have small talk in Finland. And it's also that we have the awkward silent moments. They are totally okay.
Yeah, that was a tough one, especially long drives. If you're in the car for a long time, and Finnish people are just okay with nothingness. And me, I start to panic after 5 seconds. I'm like, so I gotta say something.
Yeah, but it's totally okay to be quiet here.
Yeah, that was a big culture shock.
Yeah.
Other than that, there's not too much different.
Yeah.
As far as culture is concerned, I think humor maybe is a little bit different. I think Finns are much more self-deprecating than Americans are. Finns really like to make fun of themselves. So that was something I had to get interested to learn. Sometimes I would feel like my Finnish friends were just so harsh on themselves, but I realized they were joking.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, oh, it's okay. You're doing great. And then I realized they're just joking. But that was another kind of big culture shock.
You said before that it was May when you came.
Yes.
Yeah. And May, June, July, so bright all the time in Finland. Yeah. So much sunlight.
Yeah. I had the benefit of having a basement room in my host family's house. Yeah. So I didn't have windows. I kind of was like Harry Potter. I was sort of living in this cellar. It wasn't that bad. But it was dark when I wanted it to be dark. So the first time I remember actually recognizing that the sun was up super late, I think I'd gone to go see a movie, and I came out of the movie theater with my friends, and it was maybe 11 p.m. and it looked like noon, and I was like, what year is it?
Yeah.
That was pretty shocking, and now I have blackout curtains. 'Cause
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about your favorite things in Finland?
Favorite things. I really love the coffee culture.
Yeah.
I think when I moved here, I drank 1 cup of coffee a day, maybe, and now I'm
Amateur.
I'm probably up to 5 or 6 before I even take my morning shower. Just railing them. But also, I like the fact that Finns actually go and appreciate coffee rather than just getting it to go at Starbucks and driving off. You know. I really love the sauna culture.
Oh,
sauna is my
really?
favorite thing in Finland. I mean, the first time I had experienced it, I have a funny story. The first time I experienced it, I was with my host family, and we had gotten in the sauna, and I was just sweating, just sweat pouring down me. I was dying. And my host dad looks at me and says, "I'm sorry it's so cold in here, but the little kids are coming in and out, so we can't have it too hot." And I'm like, this is cold. I think it was maybe like 75 degrees, and and now if it's less than 80, I'm like, "Hey, Talisa." You know, I channel my Finnish. But I have to say, those are kind of my favorite things about Finland. Not so much the normal things, not so much like the food or anything like that. Not that Finnish food is bad, but but the sauna and then the culture things. I think Finns are very great about having these cultural and social traditions that everyone seems so serious about, you know, and that I think is really, really beautiful in its own way. And I really love sauna and coffee culture. Yeah.
But I have to ask, Finnish people are naked in sauna. Are you okay with it?
I wasn't at first. So the first time it happened, I was a little bit shocked. I didn't, because no one had warned me. You know, you don't have time to like figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
And now after 2 years of being here, I'll just whoop, let's go.
Yeah.
You get used to it, but it was shocking at first because in USA, nobody's naked for any reason around anybody who they're not supposed to be naked with.
Yeah, yeah, because and it's so natural thing for us because we are just naked in sauna. It's so basic, like breathing or eating.
Yeah,
we are naked in sauna. Yeah. How about worst things in Finland?
The worst things in Finland? Definitely some of the foods are rough. You know, I think what normal Finns eat every day is good. It's not bad. But every time I'm anywhere, I always have my Finnish friends who are trying to shove something black in my face. Like, I don't know, it's salmiakki or musta makara or, you know, something. You know, these just dark and bitter and, you know, crazy foods. I really don't like rye bread, so that's tough. Worst things about Finland? You know, nothing's really...
You can be honest.
...bad. I do think I sometimes wish I could small talk a little bit more. You know? So sometimes it's tough. It's tough when you're trying to small talk and the person just doesn't want to do it. Small talk's one of those things where both parties need to be involved. If one party's not on board, it makes it worse. You know, if you have nobody small talking, fine. Both people small talking, fine. If it's not even, it's a really uncomfortable situation for everybody.
Yeah. And I think it's also maybe language thing. Maybe some people think that they don't speak English well enough and they are like, they don't like to speak English.
Yeah.
Or
yeah. I think, you know, the only other things that I think about Finland, I mean, I stayed here because I loved it. So I can't really think of anything that I would change about the country in that way. I'm one of those people that kind of tries to adapt to situations, so I think I was able to quickly adapt to the Finnish social customs. Some people I know weren't that lucky. So, but maybe another bad thing is how expensive everything is. For example, alcohol. I went to the first day I arrived in Finland. I wanted to go get a beer.
Yeah.
And when I told the bartender I just wanted a regular beer,
yeah,
and she told me it would be €6, and my first response was, I only want one.
Not 6.
Yeah. I just ordered one of them.
Yeah.
And her face was like, and give me the money.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. So that's something I would probably
Yeah.
change. I mean, I guess I understand why,
Yeah.
but that's rough.
But now it's good time to taste Turkish pepper candy, because I heard that you haven't tasted yet. Basic salmiakki, yes.
I have tried salmiakki, yes.
Yeah.
I've never tried Turkish pepper.
So, moment of truth. And here we go.
Remember just 5 seconds ago when I said that all my Finnish friends are always trying to give me things that are black? This is aggressive. That's aggressively colored.
Yes.
And it's got a fireball on it. Come on.
It tells something, I have to say.
These are the candies that are filled with thermite, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I figured. Okay, here we go. L'chaim. Hillikin. I'm stalling. All right, I'm really not exaggerating. That's pretty gross. Like I'm trying not to over-exaggerate here, but why is it sort of spicy? Is that why? Is that the whole thing?
It's Turkish pepper.
Oh! Why did I bite into it? Ooh! No one warned me. Why would you do that?
There is also spicier model. It's like regular, and the spice is different.
Oh! I just got a chill down my spine.
It's so fun. Oi. Do you want more?
No.
Oi. Okay, maybe this was the worst thing in Finland.
Probably. It's still bad. It's not going away. Can we cut this? I need to spit this out.
Then one difference between the US and Finland. You use their freedom units and we use kilometers, kilograms, kilo everything. Is it confusing?
Well, God invented the freedom units, so I'm just kidding. No, it is confusing. Well, they teach us, at least I was taught, metric units in school, in high school. But being 27, I haven't gone to high school in 10 years.
Yeah.
And when you don't use them in your everyday life, you don't think about it. You know. So, for example, now 2 years of being here, I have a hard time thinking about Fahrenheit because I've been speaking in Celsius for 2 years, and when somebody asks me, "What's that in Fahrenheit?" Maybe my family members, I genuinely have to like stop and think about it. But I still have no concept of what a centimeter is. I have no concept of it. You could tell me that this is 50 centimeters and I'd believe you. You could, and who knows? I couldn't even estimate it. So I can estimate inches, you know, and which is hilarious because an inch is such a weird unit. But it's bizarre because when you're in the USA, you're in such a little bubble. You know, you can travel thousands of miles in any direction and everyone knows what you're talking about. But when you come to Europe, nobody knows what you're talking about, and you don't know the other one. So it's like you don't know the other conversion. So it's been tough. And you know, if someone tells me, if I'm walking on Google and it says make a right in 300 meters, I'm like, just tell me when I got to turn right. I have no idea what 300 meters is.
You didn't say it before, but how about the darkness on winter? Is it bad?
That's tough. It is tough. I wasn't prepared for that because obviously when you experience the sunshine, when I came here in May, experiencing the endless sunshine, I thought this is perfect. Finland is perfect. It was like 30 degrees every day. The lakes were warm. The sun never set. I was like, this is paradise. And then August. And when things started going out. And yeah, I mean, it's not as bad once you get used to it. But it is rough having, 2 or 3 hours of sunlight a day. You feel like you have to go do everything you need to do in those 2 or 3 hours outside, because once it's done, and you know, you're going to the grocery store at 6 p.m. and it looks like it's midnight, and you just feel like dead. You feel like you've already spent a whole day when your day is just getting ended. You know, and it is tough. It's definitely tough, and it's a lot of. I think one thing a lot of people don't really talk about, or Americans might not know, is that you actually have to really work to not be depressed during that time.
Yes.
You know, that's one thing that a lot of Americans, I don't think about, is taking vitamin D supplements and doing, you know, trying to work out more, trying to eat healthier, whatever, to do whatever you can to combat the actual depression that you feel, because most Americans don't realize that, you know, when you're in a constant state of darkness for months at a time, it's depressing. It's not great.
And the mood difference is crazy, because on winter, 6 p.m. I'm like, oh, day is over, I'm ready to sleep. And then on summer, 9 p.m. I'm like, woohoo, what we should do next? Yeah, many hours left.
The other day, I had stayed up until 2:30 in the morning reading a book, and I didn't realize it was 2:30 in the morning because the sun was up, and I'm like, oh, well, I guess we'll see what time it is. Oh my. Oh.
Your family and friends live in the US. Do they have some kind of stereotypes of Finland or Finnish people, or did you have some stereotypes or ideas?
You know,
what is life here?
It's funny because I had never really interacted with Finnish people ever, except for I had 2 friends of mine who were au pairs in Philadelphia, who were from actually Nokia, so not far from here, and they were just basically like Americans. So I didn't think it would be. I mean, they were very outgoing. They had been in USA for a little while also, but I didn't really have many stereotypes. I do remember. This is gonna make some people angry. One of my Swedish friends did say that Finns don't have any personalities. So I was kind of expecting Finns to be very, I think the stereotype is that Finns are extremely reserved, which I don't really find to be true. I think that Finns are reserved maybe in their, when they're out in public, you know, walking down the street or shopping in the grocery store, they're very orderly and to themselves, you know, but when you have a chance to be social with Finnish people, I've never found that they're that reserved, you know. I mean, obviously maybe I've just gotten lucky with everyone I've met, but I don't think that stereotype is 100% true. I can see where it can come from, but I think that maybe what most Americans think of is that Finns are just very quiet, very reserved. They don't like to make friends. They don't like to have friends. They want to just go out and eat mushrooms in the woods. I think that would be kind of the big stereotype. And also, another one of the big stereotypes is, you know, vodka. I think we sell Finnish vodkas in stores in USA.
Yeah, we drink vodka here all the time.
Yeah, just
every day.
Yeah, before dinner, it helps digest, you know, when you're going on a run.
Yeah, all the time like a butter. Yeah.
You take showers in vodka here, actually. It's insane.
How about, we talked about Finnish brands in the US, Fiskars and Kone, but what do you think, do people know there that those brands are from Finland?
I think most people would probably think those brands are from USA. I mean, obviously they say made in Finland on them, but nobody really thinks about it. I thought it was funny. For example, growing up, my mother always had a pair of Fiskars scissors. You know, she would use them for sewing or whatever she used them for. And I just never thought about it. It was just a brand of good scissors that you had, or you would see at gardening stores, Fiskars hedge cutters or things like that. And I don't think anyone really pays attention to the fact that they're made in Finland. And you know, for example, almost every escalator is kone. You know, but then again, no one's really looking at the brands of escalators.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I've never been going up an escalator and thought, well, I wonder what brand this is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And did you know any Finnish brands or products before you came?
Before I came here, probably not. I had been told that Angry Birds was Finnish, but I didn't really think about it.
Yeah.
As far as actual just brands, I don't think so. I don't think that I knew really what was until I started coming out here and experiencing it in person.
Yeah. And then your favorite topic, Finnish language.
Noni.
No need.
Then that's it.
That's it. That's all. You have studied Finnish.
Yes.
Yes.
A bit. Yeah.
What do you think? Is it hard?
It's extremely hard. Maybe not for some people, but I think as a native English speaker, the languages could not be more different as far as structure of the language, the grammar, the some things I think in Finnish are easy. For example, reading Finnish, anybody can do it because they don't have silent letters. The letters make exactly the sound that you think they make.
We need every letter.
Yeah, they use and need every single letter. But the problem is, whenever I look at a Finnish word, everything looks like a vowel. It just looks like jarvi. You know, it's just oh, you're gonna make a left at umeavinarkatu. You know, it's just a bunch of y's and as, and it's very, very difficult. But I think the hardest part is the grammar. I never know when to use minun, minut. I never know when to use those cases, and I'll try to formulate a sentence with the very small words that I have, but it'll just end up being a whole big mess because I'm trying to say I want to go to sauna, and it'll just be just nothing.
Yeah. But you told before that you speak Swedish.
Lite.
Lite.
Jag har inte tränat min svenska för ett år, så.
Some people speak Swedish in Finland, but not many, so it doesn't help you much here.
No, it doesn't. The only time I've ever had a chance to use Swedish in Finland was a Mormon missionary showed up at my apartment, and he was Swedish, and I thought, this is my moment. I have reached I've been here for a year, and I now have the chance to use Swedish.
Yeah.
And I panicked, and I just forgot everything I knew.
Oh no.
And I was just, how do you say hi in Swedish? So the one chance I got in Finland to use Swedish.
Yeah. How about other languages? So you of course speak English, Swedish, and little bit Finnish. But do you know more languages?
No, I did take, of course everyone in USA takes languages in high school. I dabbled in a couple. I tried to learn French. That was impossible. I had this brief moment where I thought it would be great to learn Russian, so I studied Russian for a couple months. That wasn't as hard as French for me, but it was still kind of a bit of a nightmare.
Yeah.
And then, just kind of settled on trying to learn Spanish for a while. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't speak Spanish. So I think that's the problem. One problem with USA that I would fix is that there's not as much of a emphasis on learning another language. Despite a huge portion of the population being native Spanish speakers and a huge portion of the population being native Arabic speakers, no one really speaks anything other than English.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that I think
Yeah.
USA could learn from Finland.
Yeah, because sometimes I have to say I'm jealous to Americans because everyone speaks their language.
Yeah.
Because you can just go everywhere and start to speak English and almost all people understand.
Yeah,
especially in Europe. Yeah.
I've been to, I think 12 countries or something, and I've never had an issue with just speaking English.
Yeah.
Now of course there's been moments where I've left touristy areas and you have to resort to pointing and showing Google Translate, but for the most part it is a big privilege that I have to recognize that I have, because Thank the Queen. Yeah.
How about speaking English in Finland? What do you think? Is it easy to speak English here, or are so people answer you if you speak
Yes,
English?
I have never once in the 2 years I've been here ever met somebody who didn't speak English. Even the people who say they don't. I have noticed though, if you want to give a Finn to speak English with you who's nervous about speaking English, just buy them a couple shots of salmiakki kossu, and then they'll speak English to you all night.
Yes. Yes. We are just a bit shy to speak English.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest problem. That's one of the funniest things about Finns is that Finns are incredible at English. I mean, incredible. I've spent time in Germany, and I think Finns, on average, are better than Germans. I lived in Czech Republic, and Finns are better than Czechs on average. But Finns are so shy about speaking English, which I think is funny because they're so good at it. And I'll always get people who apologize to me. I'm sorry that my English is so bad. And I'm like, I'm in your country. Why are you apologizing to me?
Yeah, and it's interesting because usually most of people say to us, for me and Lauri, that your English is really good and nice to hear you speak English. But then Finnish people, your accent is horrible. Stop speaking English. Horrible
Rally
to
English.
hear. Yeah, rally English.
Yeah.
They don't want to hear rally English.
I get a little bit upset about that on TikTok. I try to go to people's defense. I'll see that a lot whenever I'm just browsing Suomi TikTok, you know, and I'll see some Finnish TikTokers doing a video in English, and I just see this stream of comments of people, you know, insulting them, and I'm like, as a native English speaker, I thought it was great. So
Yeah.
shh.
So Finnish people, listen this guy.
Yeah, be nice to each other because English is a hard language.
Hey, what is your favorite word in Finnish? No niin.
No niin is a
No
great
niin.
one. Or it's not a word, it's just a phrase.
Yeah.
And I started doing this all the time when I was taking care of kids who didn't speak English. And anything they said to me, I would just look at them and go, "Ihanko totta?" And so I would just say that to everything, and you it's almost like noni. You could just say that to anything or most things, and that's fun for me to say. Sometimes I just walk around and say Finnish words. Like my friends will be walking with me down the street, and I'll just go, "Kinkujuusto," or you know, "Joulukinku," or just something. I'll just say random words.
Random
I
words.
also like to read signs and just try to figure out how to pronounce them. Yeah, I would say, I guess my favorite Finnish word would probably be noni.
But there are many signs in English in Finland.
Yes. Yeah. For the most part, yeah. I mean, of course, street signs are not. But in Finland, usually everything is in Finnish, Swedish, and English.
Yeah.
Usually. Sometimes you might see sometimes English might not be there, but typically, even in the grocery stores, you can usually find some level of English. It's pretty common. Yeah.
Yeah. So you speak Finnish a little bit, but if you speak Finnish to Finnish people, how do they react?
Typically, they just immediately switch to English. No, it's funny because when I first came here and I wanted to try to practice my Finnish, I was almost a little bit offended. Like I thought it was kind of rude that they were switching to English when I was trying to, if I was just trying to order a coffee or a burger, and they would reply to me in Finnish. But then I quickly realized that it's almost like most Finns just kind of want to be helpful. So if they think that it's easier for them to speak English, they will typically do that for you. And it's sort of just a thing that happens. And so I found that if I stop them and tell them, I would like to speak Finnish, or if I just continue speaking Finnish, they will go into it. But I'm not good enough in Finnish yet to do that. So, it is interesting. I think one of the hardest parts is pronouncing the words correctly. And I think a lot of Finns are too afraid to correct me on my pronunciation, so I end up saying a word wrong for like forever. You know, like for example, the word tapan and tapan. No one corrected me on that for like a really long time. And so I was telling people I wanted to kill them instead of telling them I want to meet them, you know?
There is slight difference.
People were, you know, so I think that's a funny thing is that Finns generally want to be helpful, but they also don't want to come off as criticizing because they understand how difficult their language is. So whenever I try to speak in Finnish, usually it ends up either just quickly descending into English or I just ramble on like a madman and they have no idea what I'm saying and they just keep kyllä, me.
Kyllä. And then I have one interesting topic left. We already talked about it, but if you are American, everything is great, awesome. I love everything. I love everything. Awesome, great. Woo.
Yeah.
And in Finland, everything's good. Hyvä.
Yeah, just good. That was shocking for me in both directions because when I never realized I was doing it. You know, until somebody pointed it out to me. You know, I don't even remember what the circumstance was, but I said I loved something. And my Finnish friend was like, really? You love it? Do you? And it was, I don't remember what it was. It might have been a food.
Yeah.
And they had pointed out that it's hard for them to know how much I actually do like something because I seem to love everything. So that was a problem that I had to consciously think about because I thought, you know, that's an actual issue of communication between Americans and Finns.
Yeah.
You know, if a waiter comes and asks how your meal was, and I can say it was amazing. Well, it was McDonald's. You know, was it really amazing?
Yeah.
You know, and the other way around is I sometimes have a hard time finding out if Finns really enjoyed something because you know I could say if I make my friends dinner and I say how did you like it, and they say good, it was good. Okay, just
pretty
good.
good.
It was just good. Like, did it need more salt? Was it too much salt? Was it too spicy? Like, what? So it's sort of a weird communication because you know, Americans in particular are so over the top about everything. We express everything in such a grand way.
Yeah.
And I don't think any Americans realize that until they come to a country where everything is, the baseline is good.
Yeah.
And if something's really good, it's probably still good. And then you really got to achieve to get that great.
Yeah, because sometimes we have American business partners and sometimes it doesn't feel honest when they say everything's great, awesome job, well done, like all the time, so overwhelming words.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel honest because I feel like everything's great, but if something is better, what is it?
Yeah, I think that's definitely a huge problem that I've learned living in Finland is that level of Americans feel like it's brutal honesty, but it's really not. It's just actual honesty because Americans don't realize how exaggerating they're living their lives. You know, when your boss asks you, "Hey, how was your report?" and you say, "Amazing," you know, that's just a normal. And so if you were to say to him, "Good," he might think something was wrong.
Yeah.
You know. Whereas in Finland, if you're telling your boss something was amazing, they might think this is the best report I've ever read in my entire life.
Yeah.
That's what they're expecting, you know, that sort of level of expectation. And I think those kinds of small communications are tough to adjust to, especially when, as an American, you're not used to getting those open, honest communications, you know, where someone might just flat out tell you, "I didn't think the food was very good." And you're like, well, I'm glad for the feedback, but I've never expected to hear it. So that was something that's hard to adjust to.
Yeah.
In Finland especially, is that kind of brutal honesty. But once you get used to it, you appreciate it, and it's refreshing.
Yeah.
You know, I went back to USA a year ago for Christmas, and it was just, everything felt so bizarre and foreign to me. You know, all the commercials were so, like, a Coca-Cola commercial has an exploding car in the background. I'm like, what is happening? You know,
Why?
there's just, everyone's I'm so happy, you know, and it's interesting.
Yeah. What's your plan now? Do you stay in Finland or do you want to be here forever, or what's your plan?
I'm a type of person, I've never thought ahead further than like 1 year in my life.
Yeah.
I think it comes from, you know, when I was a child, we moved around all the time, and I'd never really lived anywhere for longer than a couple years. And so I don't really know. I do think I could be happy in Finland for the rest of my life, so I'm not planning on moving. Obviously, I'm open to the idea if something came up somewhere, but as of right now, I'm not planning on going anywhere. I'm very happy where I'm at. I love Tampere, I love Finland, and I'm happy being here. And so for now, this is my home. This is where I live.
Great. Hey, but if you want to follow Josh's life in Finland, he is on TikTok, Josh of Western. And hey, thanks for coming.
Thank you.
I think this was super interesting, of course super long, but maybe you listened this, because this was a bit like podcast or something. Yeah. But hey, thanks.
Thank
And
you.
we end this video now. Thanks for watching. Moi moi!
Moi moi.